So today I have another special watch. I know I say they're all special, but they are. This is a German watch, a company called Laco. And Laco has been in business, as it says, since 1925. They built watches for the German military all through the Second World War. They're famous for their Air Force watches that they made, something that I'm looking forward to showing you guys. So this is the way that it comes in this nice box. It's about 1 foot long, maybe 2 inches, 2.5 inches thick. It's kind of a rubberized feel to it with a painted end on one side. But this is quite a sizable box. You can tell by the size of my hand. Sort of similar design to a shoebox, just pops right off the top here. The inside liner of the box is, well done, well made, kind of blackened material. And then right inside, you see the Laco watch box itself, the inner box. Here's the box itself. It's a zip closed container. Has an embossed sign that says Laco here. And this is not leather, but it's a leatherette, faux leather that is nice and cushioned and has stuffing material underneath it. And we open it up. You can see right off the bat, there's like a blue tint to that. That's a real sapphire crystal on that watch. And it does have an AR coating on it. So what we have here is a Laco Friedrichschafen. This is part of the Laco Originals series. And the reason they call it that is because this is based on the same design as the pilot watch would have been in the 1940s. It's a little fiddly to get it out here without messing up the... There we go. Get to that in a second. So over here on the side, strapped in is... Try not to bend that too much, is the warranty card and the instruction manual. Here's the really neat part. It's the actual watch itself. This is part of the Laco Original series. It was called the Original series because Laco considers this design to be very close to the original typical specifications of the German Air Force Flieger watch, which Flieger means pilot or flyer. The design you see here is with the minutes on the outside and the hours on the inside, and then this very well-defined arrow pointing up. This is so if you're flying at night, you can get oriented to where 12 o'clock position is just at a glance. And then it has a lot of lume all over it. It's difficult to tell here. Maybe I can get a shot of it later on in the dark, but very bright on purpose. So this is B-Uhr design. There was an A-Uhr or A-Uhr, which means the A watch. And then there was the B-Uhr or B-Uhr, which means B watch. And those were the two different designs. The B-Uhr had the minutes on the outside, and the A-Uhr design has the hours on the outside. Very simple design. But this particular watch, when it was made in the 40s for the fighter pilots for the Luftwaffe, was made in a much larger case. This diameter is 45 millimeters. The original B-Uhr Flieger watch was 55 millimeters, so it would have been out to about right here. So it would have been huge. There's some really cool videos on YouTube that you can find showing the real Flieger pilot watches. This one is made by the same company with the same basic design, using a very well done, very thick leather strap with rivets, just like it would have been done with the original, and sewed edges. Then a really nice, simply executed buckle. It says Laco on the end. And what's on the back? That's a little disappointing, isn't it? Well, you would think so if you don't know the history of this watch. So on the real pilot watch from the 40s, all of this information that you see here would have been found on the inside of the back of the case on the real German pilot watch. So then, rather than having people just popping the back of this off to see if that information was there or not, they've stamped it here. So what you see is that it's a Flieger, and then it says it is a number 127-560, that it was made by Laco, and then it's a FL23883. What does that stand for? That seems like just some random number, doesn't it? It's actually very significant. You'll notice it also exists right here on the side of this watch, FL23883. So the FL23883 is a historical designation that was given to the B-Uhr Flieger watch from the German Air Force watches. There were only 5 watch companies that were authorized to build these watches during German Air Force days. They were Lange and Söhne, and Stoa, Wimpa, IWC, and Laco. And the really interesting thing about that is that they were all built to the same specifications with the same sandblasted stainless steel case like you see here, and would have had, instead of a sapphire crystal, they would have had a plastic crystal. And the lume of the real 40s watch is radioactive radium. So obviously this is not radium, but radium will glow without tiring. In other words, it doesn't have to be charged by sunlight in order to glow. So it had the advantage of being visible all night long when they were doing night raids. Anyway, so we don't typically build watches with radium lume anymore because of its radioactive nature. Just a tiny little speck of radium lume getting on your body cause a cancer wherever it sits. Back to my story. What does the FL23883 mean? Well, that designation was given to the Biur Flieger watch. FL stands for flight. 23 is the code for navigation. And 883 is a specification number for the German Research Institute for Aviation. Right here you can see there's just a little divot. That's on purpose. You can grab hold of this and pry it with a guitar pick, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to get dirt in it. It's very dusty where I am in this part of the world, out here in the desert where we live. If it weren't dusty, you can just take a guitar pick and pop that open and see the movement inside. The movement inside of this watch is a good, solid Swiss movement. This is actually powered by an ETA 2824.2, a Labouré movement, and it's an automatic movement, which means it's self-winding. Let's get it going here just a little bit. It does not have a screw-down crown. It has a pop-up crown on purpose. And let's see, since this ETA movement is also used by watches with a date window, let's see if it has a ghost position. And it does not. So it has only one position when it's popped up. So the German version of this watch also had a pop-up crown with this sort of flower or rose design because it was easy to get hold of and pull back. This has a very solid, well-executed crown. It doesn't feel loose or laggy in any way. It doesn't wiggle to the slightest. Find it here. Give it a little juice and watch her run. There she goes. Very quiet, very smooth. So you can still buy the full-size 55mm World War II German pilot watch replica from Laco, just the way that it looked in World War II. The problem with a 55mm case is you can't really wear it anywhere. It was designed to be worn over the wrist of a jacket. You can see just how big this is. I'll put it on in a minute and display it for you. But a 55mm, this is 45. Now, if this was 55mm, this would just be a clock. So it's not practical to wear that. But Laco calls the full-size 55mm the replica series, spelled with a K, because it's German. But this is part of the original series, and this is the 45mm version. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on now. This is the first time this has ever been worn. I just got this watch, so the strap isn't broken in, so it doesn't fit entirely straight on. But yeah, that's pretty huge. This watch has a fantastic history. It just isn't that well known, which I think is a shame because it has been done with such historical accuracy, heeding to the original design. Now, there is something I want to point out here. I'm definitely not a sympathizer to the actions that occurred in Germany in the 40s. This watch was actually designed before World War II occurred. And I would also like to point out there are a lot of German manufactured brands that we still purchase, and Japanese also, that participated in some bad things during World War II, such as Mitsubishi and Mercedes and Volkswagen, and Auto Union, which is now Audi, to name a few. So, you know, it's not the fault of the machines for what happened, and there are some really beautiful and fantastic machines out there that are well built with heritage to those times. And this just happens to be one of those. So I think this is a really cool watch. You can purchase this watch. It says retail is 1,130 euros. I bought this used for much, much less than that. They are available online from places like Chrono24 or eBay for just, a matter of a number of hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars. So, but you can't go wrong with purchasing this direct from Laco either. It is definitely, in my opinion, a really special watch worth having. Laco Friedrichschafen, part of the Laco Original series, a German watch that in my opinion is really special and worth getting your hands on for not just a tremendous amount of money.